to talk about the innovation imperative. And now, before I begin, I want you all just to take a moment and think about what if the biggest barrier to innovation isn't a lack of great ideas, but it's truly a reluctance to embrace the unfamiliar. How might the BNI world change if we were able to break through this barrier? Now, I feel very honored and lucky in my role that I have an opportunity to attend amazing events like this, have great conversations and one-to-ones with individuals from all around the world. And it's not uncommon in these conversations to get asked questions like, why is innovation so imperative for BNI? Why is BNI so focused on change? It really can't be that important right now, can it? And I always say, even with 38 years of amazing success, BNI and innovation couldn't be more important than at this juncture in time. When we think about great leaders, they often have two traits in common. The first is they're usually full of amazing ideas. The second, and the more important trait, is they take action on those ideas. I think Simon Sinek summed it up really well when he said, what good is an idea if it remains an idea? Try, experiment, iterate, fail, try again, change the world. And while I love this quote, I do think there is one part that Simon got wrong. What I think he meant to say was change the way the world does business. Now this room is full of great leaders, inventors, innovators, entrepreneurs, disruptors. And what we see is that have we changed the way the world does business? If we're being honest with ourselves, I'm not sure if we have yet. Yet, though, is the key phrase there. What we have done, though, is all of you have built the foundations and the frameworks to turn this idea into a reality. But there's more hard work ahead of us. We need to continue to try, experiment, iterate, fail, try again, and then all of you will continue to change the way the world does business. That really is an innovative approach, but I'm afraid you can't consider it. It's never been done before. I love this cartoon, mainly because it makes me laugh every time I see it, but more importantly, because of how poignant the message is. These are real conversations that happen every day in organizations all across the world. I know this may be hard to believe, so bear with me, brace yourselves, but I've even heard conversations like this happening this week here in Madrid. And the reason, even through the lightheartedness of that cartoon, the message is so important is that I can all but guarantee there were similar conversations happening exactly like this, that sounded just like this. Innovation is too hard, or it's too expensive, or it's too challenging, or there's already so much change happening already in organizations like Kodak, Nokia, Blockbuster, BlackBerry, etc. around the world. And let's not forget, these were historically innovative companies, right? I know it may be hard to believe, but I am old enough to remember those early Nokia cell phones. And not only were they indestructible, but you could play that little video game Snake wherever you wanted. I mean, that was innovation, right? That was cool. But they made a decision at some point. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, they decided that innovation wasn't imperative anymore. And there was an extremely high cost to that decision. In this case, it was the cost of relevance, the cost of existing. But what happens when organizations are committed to making innovation part of their ethos, part of their culture? The reward is high, right? Think about the amazing, insanely great products these organizations are building and have built. We're lucky though. BNI has made traditions plus innovation an important part of its ethos and its culture. And so that lends itself to an interesting question. Which side of the story are we going to end up on? And I genuinely mean this when I say, I am a believer. I am a believer BNI can end up having more success and more impact than any other one of these organizations. While these organizations may be building insanely great products, I am a believer BNI does more. BNI builds bridges, BNI grows communities, and BNI empowers purpose-driven leaders. BNI will be a beacon. And so why now? Why is it so important? We have had 38 years of growth, 313,000 plus members, 11,000 plus chapters, 22 billion in closed business. There's a lot going on. Can't we wait a little bit? To be blunt, the answer is no. The world is rapidly changing. Think about Chris Stradling's presentation, how much new investment is happening in businesses all over the world, how the business environment is significantly changing. Dan Monahan talked about AI and machine learning. We're hearing about how customer expectations are changing every day, how there is new evolutions in the workforce, in the gig economy. Raise your hand if you feel there are more competitors now than ever before. Everyone's hand should be up. We know it, we see it, the vertical is changing. BNI is in an industry that's ripe for disruption. So we have a choice. We can hang around and be disrupted, or we can disrupt ourselves. And I know that BNI can do that. And how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we have brought on one of the greatest innovators of our generation to the BNI team, the Tim Cook. And no, not that guy from Apple, but the more innovative, more experienced, better BNI leader, BNI's very own Tim Cook.
That's a lovely introduction, but imagine not being the most famous person with your own name. Oh. Every day, Tim Cook, the most powerful man in the world. Apparently not. Anyway, a lot of this conference we've heard about things like ChatGPT and the difference it's making and how you can ask it to do things and it'll do anything and give you all of the answers. And the good thing is in BNI, we don't need that. I've got my own sort of version of it. When I've got a problem and I get stuck, I just ask one of the experts here. I get stuck on BNI Connect, I go to Jeremy Walsh or Jackie Hamill. And you can do it with your members. When you get stuck, they solve everything for you. But we thought it would be fun to get our own version of ChatGPT, BNI GPT, and it's going to help us with this presentation. So, BNI GPT, tell us, what is product management? Well, product management involves planning, developing, and overseeing a set of products throughout their life cycle. We're responsible for guiding a product through its inception through to launch and ongoing improvement with the ultimate goal of delivering value to customers and achieving business objectives. Well, that sounds great. How does BNI approach product development? Well, we follow something called the product development cycle, and we use something called a prioritization matrix. So let's just explain that a little bit to you. This is the product development cycle. We start off by understanding the members' needs. And the way that we understand members' needs is through focus groups, through surveys, quantitative, qualitative, and find out what they need. We get the information from you as well, ad hoc feedback from directors. We also get the feedback from visitors and from alumni, people who were in BNI who have left, who tell us what are the things that we need to be doing. Now, you can imagine that we get lots and lots of things that are needed. And so our job is to then work out how we can prioritize this and prioritize all of these ideas to create value. Now, we don't just do this by picking what is our favorite. It would be very easy for Rob and I just to sit and go, if we like that one, let's do that. But we don't. We use the prioritization matrix. And it works like this. We look and see what is the value to the business. If it's high value to the business, then it's either going to be a strategic initiative or an easy win. So we're also looking at the complexity. We want to look for things that high value and low complexity, there are easy wins, and we just get on and do those ones. There are some which add a lot of value, but they're also pretty complicated, so we take a bit longer, and they'll be our longer-term strategic initiatives. We also get loads of ideas that sound fantastic, but when you evaluate them, they actually don't add a huge amount to the business. And so they either get put in the parking lot, because they may be easy, and if we had nothing to do on a weekend, we might do those ones. But there are also those that are very complicated, and we never get to those ones. So once we've decided which ideas we're going to do, our job is to work on piloting this. We try and create a really quick pilot and test it in regions to see, does it have anything like the impact that we thought it would have? And we test and we measure and we test and we measure to make sure that it's working. And at this point, sometimes we stop and we throw it away, and other times we say, great, let's go with it. And if we do go with it, then we have to scale it and roll out. We've got to get it into all of the countries and all of the markets and make sure that it works there. And then, we're not done, we have to listen to the feedback and continue to iterate and improve. And if you think of things like the mobile app, when it first came out, it was one version. There's been loads of feedback, and the tech team have continually improved it over the years. So, that's the product development cycle. I guess the next question is, who's involved in product development? And the short answer is, everybody. For the last 38 years, everybody in this organisation has had some role to play in product development. But let's give you a few more specifics of who is involved. First of all, there's the product team, which is led by Rob. And there's only 5 of us on this product team. We're a small but mighty team who work incredibly hard to come up with innovation that we can get out to you. But we can't do it alone. We are part and see ourselves as central to the global support team because we have to work so closely with all of the other departments. We can't do anything without the technology team having their input. We then need the training team to help us work out how to make these products easy to use and train people. We have the marketing and communication team so people know about the products. We rely heavily on the data and analytics to make sure that the information included in our systems is accurate. And we rely on the operations team to make sure that it gets out to you in the field and to all of our members. And we also work with some of the ILM groups as well, the Inclusive Leadership Model. And in particular, we work with this group, the Innovation Task Force. And we'd like to say thank you to these 7 people who have represented the idea for the last couple of years. They're transitioning off, and we are looking forward to working with our new Innovation Task Force going forward. And we also work closely with the International Board of Advisors, and this is the leadership group of the International Board of Advisors. These are members who give us feedback on our ideas, and they speak with a lot of honesty and candour and tell us what they think of our ideas, which is really helpful to make sure that we stay on track. So, everybody's involved in it, that's the main people, but what innovation is BNI doing? Well, Rob, do you want to tell us a bit more?
Yeah, that's a great question, and maybe BNI GPT can help us out to explain what innovation BNI really is doing. And BNI has a rich history of innovation. It's important to remember from the day that Dr. Ivan Meisner started this incredible organization with just one sheet of paper, and thank you again, Ivan, for starting this beautiful, beautiful organization. BNI has always been a believer in innovation. So much so, it's part of my favorite core value. And so when we think about the innovation around BNI, think about how the brand has evolved over time. Think about how we've gone to electronic slips, to electronic applications, and now multiple meeting formats. And so BNI is committed to living up to traditions plus innovation. BNI and the product team are going to live up to that, and it all starts with you. We need to continue to learn and experiment through pilots and different tests. And while we always hope that these pilots deliver amazing success, the true measure, the true result of a successful pilot is just being able to make sure we can clearly derive the outcome of that pilot. Is it something we should keep going forward with? Is it something we should change? Or is it something we should stop doing? As I said earlier, this room is full of disruptors, innovators, inventors, leaders, entrepreneurs, and the like. And the best ideas that I have found in BNI always come from all of you. And so as a result, we want to make sure we hear from all of you what is going to be BNI's next big idea.
And this is where we need your help. This is where you can take your phones out and not just to take a picture of Rob and I, although, hi. Please scan this QR code. This QR code will take you through to a form where you can send us your ideas. What are the things that you would like us to see us piloting? What are the challenges you're seeing that you have an idea that could help the entire organisation, could help our members or help our directors? Please, you don't have to complete the form now, but when you have the time, put in your ideas. We'd love to see them to really help us come up and innovate and improve on what BNI is doing. So, who would like to know about a few of the projects we have been working on? Cool. That's it, a little bit more excitement. So, first question is, how many of you love to download data from BNI Connect, put it into a spreadsheet, play with it and create some graphs? Oh, there are 4. My people are here. Woo! For the rest of you, which was the majority, Okay? We've got good news, guys. We've got good news. We have something called BNI Insights, which is an overview of all of the metrics in your business. And this is something we've worked very closely with the tech team, with Pedro and Steve. We've relied heavily on the data from Dr. Caroline Irvin to make sure that this is going to be a system that is robust and works brilliantly for you. And we were just going to show this slide, but Graham said we should do a live demo. So, live demo is on stage, good news. No, we will show you some of the bits of insights. So, look, BNI Insights gives you an overview. This is, behind me you can see some of the metrics. It shows you key numbers in your business at a glance. You get graphs showing you the trends of what is happening. And you get ranking tables which show you which are your best performing chapters. You can see which chapters are growing fastest or which are struggling the most. Then, after the overview, we've got the various elements of 3+1. So you've got launch. You can go in here and see information about when your launches were and how your core groups are going. So what does your future pipeline look like? Then we've gone to Fill, where we've got data about new members and visitors and conversion rate. And the graphs are all are interactive in some of them. So in this graph, you can see new members who are just in existing chapters, which is the red bar, or new members who have come in through launch. So you can just make sure and see how your business is performing in that way. We've got data on visitors. How many visitors attended? How many registered and didn't attend? And what percentage, therefore, attended? So this black line is the attendance rate of your visitors who are pre-registered. And you can play around with these graphs as much as you want. Now, you can also download the graphs and stick them straight into a presentation. So you don't have to download the data and put it into a PowerPoint. You can see you can download that as an image and put it straight in there. We've got the conversion rate, and we've got some more rankings on which chapters have had the most visitors and which chapters have had the most new members during that period of time, which is brilliant. If you're running a competition or an incentive during a period of the year, you can just set this up so that you can see which chapters are performing best. We've obviously got retention data as well. We look at dropped members, and we know there's an issue with first-year members leaving. And so you can look at the trend and see, oh look, these are when first-year members have been leaving. And we group it up to years 4+. And then you've got your retention graphs, both overall retention and first-year retention. Then we've got something called the health tab. And the health tab is very much chapter level data. It's got your average chapter size, it's got chapters under 20, chapters over 30, but it also has things like thank you for closed business and attendance details. Now, one of the things that you can do, there's a bunch of filters at the top, and you can select what you want the information displayed for. So this tab is great for picking a specific chapter. And we can look at a specific chapter. Obviously, it's average chapter size isn't necessarily relevant, but you can look at thank you for closed business, or you can start looking at the trend for attendance. And I want to see how many people have been late each time, and I can flick and choose how many people are on late, how many are on medical. Is there an issue raising up? With the referrals, we look at internal referrals and external referrals. We want to make sure there's a good balance. You don't want chapters where the only business being done is internal referrals, because that'll run out eventually. So we want to make sure you can see that very clearly on there. And we've also got something in here called the care report. Now, I'm not going to show the care report because it's got personal data and GDPR, we don't want to share that. But this is a tool to help you with first-year retention. It helps you identify the likelihood of members leaving BNI at the end of their first year or during their first year. And this tool is available for executive directors and national directors. It'll be there for director consultants very shortly, as soon as the training course is available on Business Builder, which it should be very soon. So one of the best things with Insights, as I said, is the ability to pick and play around. And you can mix and match with these filters up at the top. But if I'm an executive director and I'm talking to one of my director consultants, I can pick them from the list, and now I'm just looking at only their data. Okay, so I can either look at the whole region, I can look at one director consultant or one area director consultant, or any combination of director and consultants, chapters, area directors. And the other thing you can do, the default to this is always set to show data for the last year, but you can change that. You can pick any time period you want. You know, sometimes you don't want to look just at the last 12 months. You might want to look back further, or again, if you're running some sort of incentive, you may want to pick the date specifically for that, or since you last met with one of your directors or one of your chapters, to see what the data's been like since then. And you can play around. Now, this is a dangerous thing to say from the stage, but I'm going to say it anyway. The good thing with insights is you can't break it. But let me tell you what I mean by that. What I mean by that is when you play with things here, you're not impacting on the data. The data is still there, and if it stopped working for any reason, which it won't, if it did, you just start again, and the data's fine. Not like if you're actually changing things in the database. So good news is for you guys. You can get on here now and play. It is accessible for all directors right now. And all you do is go to bniportal.com and use your BNI Connect credentials. So that's BNI Insights. Let's share a couple of other things. So a couple of other quick things that we'll talk about. One of them is conversion. Have any of you ever had this conversation with somebody? Oh, I see you visited a chapter a month ago. Yeah. How did you find it? Oh, it was fantastic. Great. But you didn't join. Why did you not join? Because nobody asked me. I didn't know how to. We hear this lots. We get lots of feedback from people who have visited chapters, would love to join but don't know how. And there's lots of points in the process of somebody going from thinking about visiting BNI to joining where the system can potentially break down. And so one of our pilots is looking at how we can fix that. How can we find all the points that break and remove these problems? And one of the things we found was that in the pilot regions we were working on, it was taking on average 31 days for people to join from when they visited. We've got that down to 7 days on average. And we are seeing people who are joining on the day. Not just joining, but having their references and background check done, paying, reviewed by the committee, approved, ready to be inducted all on the same day. Wouldn't that be great to have that across the entire organisation? And then we've got a system for our hybrid and online chapters. We've got BNI Online 2.0. You know, when we were all online and everybody was online, anybody could get online, get a Zoom license and set up a networking meeting and be a competitor to BNI. So we need to have something to make the BNI experience stand out. And that's what BNI Online 2.0 does. It provides BNI elements to the meeting, such as specific referral request recording, the ability to set up one-to-ones, the ability to see all the other members' details during the meeting, and just make it feel like a bit more of a BNI experience, not just a Zoom experience. This is still in pilot, so we're still testing and measuring and making sure it works, but we're looking forward to seeing great success with this going forward. So they're just a few of the pilots we're working on. What else have we got coming up in the future, Rob?
Absolutely, thank you, Tim.
And so we are working on just a whole array of amazing projects and pilots, but we're also really thinking about BNI of the future. And so in addition to all of those amazing ideas, the product team has set a vision to build this new future of BNI. A future that is a built on tech-enabled community. We want to improve the conversion, retention, application, and renewal processes. We want to leverage our data and make BNI a more intelligent and smarter organization. We want to provide membership options for all, the heavy networker, the casual networker, and everyone in between. We want to make BNI more consumer-facing, exposing BNI to more organizations both within and external to BNI. And of course, we want to provide more tools for our great leaders around the organization to accomplish our goal of changing the way the world does business. And if we execute on these pilots and continue on the roadmap to BNI of the future, we will accomplish that. We will build BNI of the future. An organization that not only has great ideas, but acts on those ideas. We are going to change the way the world does business. And now, I've only been leading the product team for a short amount of time, but even in that time, I am extremely, extremely proud of the team and the ethos we have come up with. BNI will always be better than it was yesterday, and never as good as it will be tomorrow. And so, I challenge all of you here today, when you're on your drives home, your flights back home from convention, to think about the future of BNI and the imperative nature of innovation, and become BNI innovators. Become BNI pioneers, continue to be BNI leaders, and most importantly, be BNI legends. Thank you for listening today.